Hey y'all, Grown Black Folks Talk. We are back in the park. The wind is higher up today. It's still up there. I'm watching the fog break up and float across the sky. So there's still high wind, but it's not down at the surface today. And what I want to talk about, and it's more necessary now than ever between men and women in the black community, please put down the 1864 Handbook. I read and I saw a bunch of things and I talked to a bunch of people this weekend. It's still Sunday. I still got some more people to talk to, but I kind of boiled down what the argument is between black men and women. Essentially, we're working with one leg of a three-leg chair in this economy. The only leg that was given to us. Work for someone else. The women are encouraged to stay and breed. The men are encouraged to stud and move on. And that's essentially the 1864 Handbook, except that now black men and women want credit for being paid to do essentially the same thing in not quite the same economy, but a similar economy. And this is why on an economic level we're stuck, and on a family level we're stuck, because you're still arguing about a table of which you only have one leg on the table. You're only working with one leg, earning. And everybody's talking about, I need you to go 50-50 because I can't build a family without that. And women are like, yeah, when you take up 50% of having the babies, and particularly in certain states that don't have excellent rights, then we'll consider it. So it's making it very difficult for black men and women to be able to come together. It's going to get worse after Roe versus Wade has been overturned. So I was talking to a black friend of mine about this, a male friend. He's talking about it. It's not realistic the way black men are prevented from earning in this economy. I said, well, try to consider it from a woman's reality, because we live in very different worlds for a minute. We have to give up large parts of our fitness and our life to have a baby for a man. And then if it goes well, then we have to listen to y'all's comments about how we're not attractive anymore because we've lost our shape. If we have to work, we don't have time to put in the work to get that shape back. So a woman looks at, I have to take that level of risk and also pay 50% of the bills. That's not doable. He said, but okay, I can understand that, but I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to hurt your feelings now. That's not realistic. I said, sir, if you continue to tell women that their reality does not exist, women today are more likely to tell you that as far as they're concerned, you don't exist. He said, well, that attitude is why black women are married. I said, do you know the percentage of black men who are married? The percentage of black women is 27%. Do you know what the percentage is for black men? He's like, no. I said 30%. I said, and given that there are 2 million more black women, that's the same number. Go do it for yourself. 30% of 15 million people versus 27% of 18 million people. And tell me what you come up with. Those numbers are essentially identical. So, and if you take out the number of black widows, because black women outlive black men, and you kind of find out that black men are actually doing a little worse. Even marrying into other communities, they're still more likely to get divorced. See, the manosphere doesn't read in terms of actually reading the whole stats. They do read, but not all of them. But anyway, to keep going though, people who are 27% marriage rate don't need to talk about 30% marriage rate, but 30% marriage rate doesn't need to talk about the 27% marriage rate. If marriage is the goal, if that is the most stable way to build a family, then all of us are struggling. And one of the reasons that we are struggling is because we are trying to build a table to economically support a family and gauging whether or not we need each other based on one leg of only one chair at that total table. Notice I have not talked about emotional, moral, intellectual, or spiritual. We're still just talking about the economy, and we're working on one leg in the economy. To come to this from a woman's perspective, there are men for whom it is realistic for them to provide a sole income living. That's possible. However, it is not realistic for a woman to expect to have a man to do all that without having any knowledge herself. At the least, okay, you don't want to be learning outside the home. Okay, for your own sake. Okay, solve this problem for your own sake and ask yourself this question when you're finished. Do you know how to build a supplemental source of income? let's just make this really easy. Do you understand passive income and how to get it? Or at least semi-passive income? Do you know how to invest? Are you interested in learning? And can you do this for yourself so that I can come out here on Monday at whatever time this is after 1 o'clock and do this in the middle of the day, just like I can on Sunday? Are you willing to learn how to do that? A lot of things I learned by reading books and YouTube. And then maximizing the kind of skill I had. See, COVID helped me because I had to lean into all my artistic skills. I'm a multidisciplinary artist that everybody thought was just a musician. COVID retired me as a musician, more or less. Still got a couple of gigs, but not many. Except for me scoring music for other people. Got paid for that yesterday. Scoring music for other people and doing things that require me to be at home at my desk. But if you had to be at home at your desk, can you build a source of income that way? And can you set it up so that it continues to pay you? Do you understand passive income? Something that you just put up and people pay you however they're going to in royalties, and you go about your business. You know how to do that for yourself because the economy is changing. Okay, so it is 21st century. Every person who has something on which they can watch this can build a YouTube channel. You record your videos, you go about your business. And if you are in a monetized situation, you can sell content related to that on your own channel. You just put it down in your description. I'm going to put Stephanie Perry's video on that. I'm going to see if I can find Tony Gaskins' video on how you do that as well. Unless he's put it behind his Blessed Business Tribe. And that's the other thing. You can also build a paid membership once you have so many subscribers. In addition to doing ads. If you don't want to do ads, you can do paid membership. Then you can graduate on to something like a Patreon. But still, you're going to put time into your videos and you're going to walk away. And those videos continue to earn you money. Now, my channel is not monetized, nor have I sold you anything on this, but I got passive income streams elsewhere. So in the 21st century, everybody has the ability to tap into this kind of knowledge. And I'm going to do some things on this channel now that crypto is officially into the bear market. That's when I wanted to start talking about my personal experiences a little bit. Because I was not going to do one while everybody's going to jump in while Bitcoin was over $60,000. Because I've been through a bear market and I already knew arriving at 20,000 was inevitable. It's going to happen at some point. It's not the right time. This is the right time. But, okay. So, in a world in which everyone has the right and the knowledge and the access at this moment to at least add a little bit extra, because there's 3 legs to the table. Earning is the one we want all this credit for. Men want credit for getting a good job and getting a degree, or not having a degree and getting a good job, and they think that makes them good enough. And women want to have a good job and want to be relieved of that good job in order to go and do woman things. Okay, here's the thing. Nobody's using the other legs of the table. A lot of people are exhausted. So building a business does not sound appetizing. But you know, if you make a partnership, one person doesn't have to do all that. But let's just talk about what skills you have. I despise a man who would start a relationship or a date with, what do you bring to the table? He doesn't have a right to anything you bring to the table till he's earned that right. And if he brought you to the table and doesn't have sense enough to know what you bring in terms of you as a person, because I'm going to come back to that, then he's a fool. He doesn't have a right to know what you do economically at that stage of the game. That comes later. You do things as partners when you're partners. But before we go there, though, because it is the 21st century, what do you think is actually going to be more attractive to a man who wants to have a long-term relationship? There are plenty of men who would value, because they have some skills in this area, being able to have a partner who also has skills. And there's no excuse to not develop yourself. There's none. Because if you can listen to YouTube, you can learn about various kinds of passive income. You can learn about how to turn your skills into a stream of passive income. There's no excuse. So as a woman, you should have that, and also recognize that when a man gets to be thinking of you as a partner, this is something that you can bring on. One of the strongest pairs that you can get economically is earner plus investor. If that man goes out there and brings that money in, and you know how to make it grow once it gets into the house, not just spending it out in bills, but you know how to make it grow, that is a very, very powerful pair. Because they're never going to go, whoa, because at some point your investment mature. So It takes pressure off the earner. And it takes pressure off the investor because we always know we have something. A whole lot of arguments stop. It also allows you to do more advanced things for your children. If you don't have any children, then it allows you to do more advanced things for people in the community that you choose to have. I talked about World War II. There's going to be plenty more children that need to be taken care of coming up. So if you don't have any, don't feel like you have to walk out of the game. So there's that. Or you might be interested in helping grown folks in some capacity. A lot of black women are sitting up talking, well, we're not going to get married, but we do want to help other black women and girls. But there's going to be opportunities, and some of you who are black men who are not getting married are interested in helping black men. There is a black masculinist movement that's very involved in that, and I'm not going to knock that, because most of these young men need a man to step in because their father did not. It is what it is. So I'm not knocking that. But here's the thing. One of the reasons that we do not have the other three legs developed depends on the rest of them. I feel like a lot of black men and women are just giving up and want to become dependent again. So we're mad at each other for not being able to be the slave owner who, for whatever work was assigned, gave us just enough to survive and get to the next generation. A lot of the talk I hear from both men and women is perfectly defeatist, sitting in the middle of the 21st century. The loss of Roe versus Wade did not change anything practically unless you were pregnant, or soon will be. And you can control that too unless you're being abused. Now, there's always going to be an exception to the rule. I'm a 41-year-old virgin. Biological urges can't be controlled. I didn't say it was easy or pleasant all the time. I'm just saying, if you know what you have to do and you know what you have a purpose beyond that, you can get past that if you want to. Now, here's the thing. This is, however, what we come to: emotional control, being able to delay gratification. You have a moral code that will not let you do just anything at any time. You have intellect enough to be able to learn. And it doesn't take a whole lot of intellect to learn. You have to quiet yourself from distractions. Make up your mind you're going to learn something. Listen to a video. I'm not even saying everybody's got to read a book right away. You get books for more information. Find a video on a positive subject and listen to it. And you can passively learn by doing this. You have a mind. No matter what happened to you in school or didn't happen, you have a brain. You can learn. You can learn. If you can listen to me, you can learn. And the spiritual compass that guides it all. Now, I'm a Christian. I can only talk about that. I'm not talking about just getting up and going to church on Sunday. There are a whole bunch of people that went to church on Sunday on either side of Roe versus Wade that do not give two dead flies about children. And Jesus loves little children. So when I meet someone who is unconcerned about the welfare of children, whether they want to kill them in the womb or slowly starve outside, I already know they don't know Jesus. They know something that they're calling that, but no, they don't know the Lord Jesus at all. But you have to have, if you are involved, you got to make sure you're involved with a good spirit, a Holy Spirit. Because there are other spirits out here running. But see, this is where we come down to, what do we really need from each other? Another human being is not a slave, really, for our economic benefit. You have to learn how to think about, okay, do I need a man as someone who partners with me as a complement? That's a whole nother video. I'll talk about that on another video. As a complement. This person, the purpose in their life that God gave them, and the purpose in my life God gave me, we're similar, but we complement. My strength complements his weakness, his strength complements my weakness, and together we can accomplish more in this world that's God's will than we can separately. I can do everything I can do by myself, but there may be something God's going to call me to that he has to then assign me a partner. That man right now, I'm sure, is doing everything he knows how to do by himself to minister to the people around him. But he may have weaknesses that my strength covers, and vice versa, because it's not a competition. It's complementary. It's like team building. But if you only taught how to earn, you didn't learn any of that. They don't teach that in public school. They put you in a group and hope that the strong ones carry the weak ones and everybody resents it, and that's the end of it. That's not how that's done. But at any rate, none of this is in the 1864 handbook. These are concepts that you're going to have to come into the 21st century in your mind and stop having arguments with in and around people who still think breeding and studying is what's supposed to be done and you're supposed to be worked to death, including your peers. Anytime anybody argues with you about who's just going to have a job and they never mention any other way of earning, legal way of earning money, because the other thing is you can also do it illegally, get a felon, and then you can't even have a job. But you know what? You can't stop a felon from investing. And you can't stop a felon from owning a business. I will put I'll put Tony Gaskins' video with a young man whose father had a business, went to prison, got out, and then took over his father's business, is rebuilding his community. I'll put that in there for kicks. Y'all, we gotta move past these arguments. These are 1864 level arguments. Other people are taking 40 years and getting their will done in this country, and we just sit here arguing about things that we're arguing about 1/9 of a pie instead of figuring out how the heck do we get to the rest of the pie. Put down the 1864 handbook. Slowly back away, throw a match at it, and let it burn. Alright, I'll talk to y'all later. Let's see, I might do one more video, but I might not post it tomorrow, but we'll see. I'm trying to take advantage of these relatively windless days. Anyway, thank you for listening. Goodbye.